Hey, Rifters, welcome to the show. Subscribe, rate, review. Very excited for tonight. This is one of I've interviewed this guest before, and it's one of my favorite guests I've ever had. And as you know, we're on the week of episode 400, and I'm very excited, because the female guest for 400 is someone who means a lot to me. I interviewed her a few years ago, and I just instantly bonded with her. And obviously, she's the sister of the great John Cusack. But I'm very excited because I have a special connection with Ann Cusack. And when I interviewed her a few years ago, it was honestly one of the coolest feelings because I just instantly bonded with her. And we have a friendship. We talk on the social media now. So all that jazz. It's really cool. I saw her perform with her band, Ann Cusack and the Generation Jones band in Los Angeles. And let me tell you, she puts on one heck of a show, folks. If you ever get a chance to see her play, it's a blues band and it's really, really fun and entertaining. So I suggest you go and all that jazz. If you guys don't know who Ann Cusack is, you've seen her in Better Call Saul. She was the lead on her own sitcom Maggie and the Jeff Foxworthy Show. She's been in so many movies like Gross Point Blank, the League of Their Own, and this one's like on the tip of my tongue with Tom Hanks. I should probably find out what it's called because it's a big movie where the plane. Oh, Sully. He was in Sully. That's what it was called. I knew it was on. I didn't even Google it. I was close, but I didn't do it. Sully. She was in Sully. All right, guys. So subscribe, rate, review, tell a friend. And I just want to say thank you guys so much for joining us for the past, 10 years, with Alan Lee. And, we've transitioned a lot. We used to do it in studio, and then when COVID happened, we started going in Zoom. I think Alan Lee would be very proud of how the show is going and all that. So, thank you guys so much. I keep people ask me how long is this podcast going to last? And I think it's just going to last until, I stop getting guests or until I get bored with it. And right now I'm not really bored with it. How I feel when I podcast, I feel that's the time to do it, especially when I'm not doing a lot of stand up or writing or anything. So yeah, I think it's going really, really well. And it's honestly all thanks to you guys for like listening and just keeping my spirits high, especially the past 2 weeks when I didn't have or 2 months when I didn't have a social media. You guys were really there for me. Like it felt good talking to you guys. So yeah, so subscribe, rate, review. We gotta get those reviews up though on Apple Podcasts that they keep saying we gotta get the reviews up. I'm like, all right, cool. And YouTube, subscribe, rate, and review on YouTube and stuff. And follow me on social media at Keith Reza. I'm on Cameo and all that jazz. And enjoy Razor Riffs with Ann Cusack coming up next.
From Hollywood, California, welcome to Razor Riffs with your host, Keith Razor.
Hey, Ann.
Hi, I'm sorry for being late. I got caught in I'm in the process of applying for a visa, a UK visa, and so I'm sorry. The
No.
long and short of it is I'm sorry. Tell me how you are.
Yeah, you don't ever have to be sorry with me, Ann Cusack. You gotta do what you gotta
Yes,
do. No.
I don't. I'm not gonna treat you badly, mister. You don't get to
Oh,
be treated badly. Oh no,
no,
not gonna happen.
no. How is
Your time
France?
is just as much value as mine.
Oh, nah. I don't know, when I first interviewed you, like I've first of all, thank you so much for doing this.
Oh, sure, of course.
This is the 400th episode, so it's really important to me. And
Isn't that amazing?
eh,
400?
yeah, yeah. And
Wow!
Yeah, and like I'm no Joe Rogan or Mark Maron or whatever, you know what I mean? I'm just a unknown, comedian. So I think it's
Mm,
very proud for me. And when I first interviewed you, I just instantly bonded with you, and
aw.
like I say this to a lot of people, I consider myself very close with you, even though like we only talked once and we talk on social media. Like you mean
Mm-hmm.
a lot to me. So thank you for doing
Oh,
this.
well, you're such a good man. You're so
Oh,
lovely. It's so easy.
uh,
So
but you gotta tell me
I'm
how
glad you
Fran.
feel.
You gotta tell me
So
how
I'm glad
France
you feel.
is.
Well, it's just a whole nother way of moving through the world. It's so completely different. Their
Yeah,
whole. I'm in the medieval village right now, so it's very things move at a very, very different pace.
yeah,
Success is about the quality of your life, not necessarily, how much money you have in your wallet. And it's not, people aren't so defined by their work or what they
right.
do. It's kind of different, not that those aren't important things, but it's not like in the United States, it's a purely capitalistic country. So everything has a price tag on it, and work is hence, you
Yeah.
know, pretty much the major piece of pie in a person's life. So, and that's not the case here, at least not in this, in terms of the village that I'm in the south of France. So, and
Oh my
it's just
God.
beautiful. It's just
Yeah, I know. Like that's so like I've never been to France, but I see like, documentaries and pictures and stuff. Like that's one place I would always want to go to. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like,
Do come, do
oh,
come. I
yeah.
highly recommend it.
We
I mean,
could,
it's a bit of a haul, but it's worth it if you get here.
yeah. I was reading how like I don't know much about hikes and stuff, but I heard there's a trail called the Camino del Santiago. Maybe I'm saying it wrong, but it's like James Way, and it's
Hmm.
like from France to Spain. Like it's a
Hmm.
huge, and they say if you
Yeah.
complete that walk, you get like a wish from the gods or something.
Ah, yes. Well, it's a quite the pilgrimage, as they
Yeah,
say. It's a haul.
yeah. Have you tried doing that and be like,
No,
ah?
I haven't, but I'd have to look into it more as far as like how, long it is, and how, does it take a week to do it? Is it 2 weeks? I don't know any of it. I suppose I could look it up right now. I don't know if you
Yeah.
want to do that, but
Yeah.
Camino del.
I think that's what it's called. Like I said, I've never been to
uh,
France, but
Well, maybe I'll do it. I'll do it later, and I'll
yeah,
remember.
yeah. But I mean, like maybe you and Jim could like take a vacation, see if you guys could get your that wish. You know what I mean? Tell
Right,
me if
right,
it
right.
works.
Yeah, because who doesn't want to wish from the gods,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah. What would you wish for once you complete that, or is that something you don't want to share?
Oh no, I think it would have to do with the United States stepping up and people, retaining our democracy, and those that are trying to destroy it are
Yeah,
are put in jail.
yeah, yeah,
I think that would be my wish right now.
yeah.
It's just so, and that the genocide that's been going on, on all these larger levels cease. Where's our humanity?
Yeah, but
We're letting these awful people dictate, and we
oh, for
can't.
sure. Like everybody's leaving US too right
Do
now,
you find that people are going? Do you know a lot of people who have left?
Well, our mutual friend, the great Rosie O'Donnell, left, and
Yes.
so yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people are leaving. I can't afford to leave, even if I wanted to leave. But like, like
Hmm.
but yeah, I just think it's just so crazy.
I mean, how are you trying to resist, or fight back, or you
I,
know?
I mean, to be honest with you, and maybe this is just the comic in me, and maybe like this, but like politics just don't really mean much to me because I'm more about just doing stand up and worrying about, and I try
Mhm.
and make things funny. So like whatever side on like I kind of stay away from politics because I feel that that would ruin my ability to make people laugh to come together. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes. The only thing that I would throw in the mix is that this is sort of beyond politics
Yeah.
in terms of, the dismantling of our democracy that's going on. And one of the brilliant things and one of the major things that comics can do is through humor educate people.
Oh yeah.
The great Lenny Bruce, for instance, about the power of words. And, Leslie Jones is hilarious, in terms of like calling people out and, dealing with the issues of racism or what's going on politically. So comics and the entertainment are huge in terms of being able to get us to look at ourselves, in a
Yeah.
way that one doesn't get defensive or is willing to, be get us to be reflective and maybe rethink something, in a way that's because laughing's the best way to go. And God knows
Oh,
we and
for
God knows we
sure.
need it,
Yeah. Like
you
one of
know.
like I'm not the biggest RFK fan because just on his stance on autism and I have autism. So like one of the jokes I do now is like, "Hey, I have autism," because I really talk about it, like
Uh-huh.
in the act. And I
Uh-huh.
say I kept telling my mom not to have Tylenol, but yeah. So like it's kind of like that where like I just kind of like, like that's the most I'll go. It's just and it's not
Oh,
like
well,
something, yeah,
I think you can absolutely bring people together, because you can make people laugh. But I also think because you actually have autism, that
yeah,
you can make those jokes and you can, absolutely like call him out in a really hilarious way about, the ridiculousness of Tylenol or, all of that stuff. So you're in a great position to make
yeah.
people laugh and educate them at the same time.
Oh, for sure. I also feel bad for Tylenol because I feel like this is like the third thing they've been accused of. You know what I mean? Like, didn't they like get accused of killing people or something? You
I
know?
know. You kind of think, well, why don't you just sue the administration for God's sakes? Because it's defamatory and
Yeah,
it's not true. It's just a
yeah.
lie.
So, but
Anyway,
no, it's so good to see you, and
yes. How are your gigs going?
there. I mean, I tour with TJ Miller right now, so that's cool. But I'm not as famous as I was when I was with Norm or Saget. You know what I mean? So like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of, but it's fun. It's still in my heart, and I'm still writing scripts and stuff. So
That must have been very hard for you when Norm left.
oh my God, yeah, it was,
I'm so sorry for
yeah,
that loss for you because that's a big one.
yeah, he was my best friend. You know what I mean? So like,
Oh,
Yeah. But hey, I wanted to show you something. I don't know if I ever showed you this, but I have a stand-up special. I think I sent it to you. I don't
I
know
don't
if
know.
oh,
Let me see.
I'll send it again, but I got the artwork for it.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
oh.
So like, yeah.
That's so great.
Yeah,
Oh,
'cause
oh, that's great. Did you put your face instead of my brother's on it?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
yeah. Hold it
per,
up to the thing so I can see. Is that it's your face?
yeah,
Oh,
it's
there you go.
yeah. So, because in my special, I talk about how like The Lion King is one of my favorite Disney movies, and how
Mm-hmm.
for like an Oscar movie, there's a lot of flaws to it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like lions don't talk, and speaking of your brother, like I'm the John Cusack of stand-up comedy. You know what I mean? So like that's my
Ah.
so like that's how like that's why I just say anything. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like that.
That's great.
Yeah. And yeah, so I printed that
Mm-hmm.
because that's one thing I'm very proud of is like my special. And I
Mm-hmm.
you know how like all these movie stars and stuff have like their posters and stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
so I was thinking about hanging it over there and be like, "Oh,
You should.
it's just a stand-up special."
Doesn't matter. You
Yeah.
should do it.
Yeah. So
It's a big thing. My husband Jim did this sort of radio stage play called What About Dick that Eric Idle had done and put together. And that's a comedy thing, and there's a big poster.
Yeah.
So he's got it up on our wall. You need to put yours up on the wall. It's no small thing doing a special. It's
Yeah.
a big deal. Put it
Yeah.
up.
All
All of your
right.
stuff.
Next time you do it, it'll be hanging.
It
I'll,
better be. I want to see it framed properly.
all right, I'll frame it. But speaking of Jim, how's Jim doing?
He's great. He just finished. He was shooting a television show called, which is on Fox, called Going Dutch with Dennis Leary.
Oh, nice.
So he was in Ireland working on that show. So that was he had a great experience, and Dennis was terrific from what he was telling me.
Oh,
He's good. He's
yeah.
doing really well.
You gotta tell him I said hello.
I'll do it. I'll
Yeah,
do
yeah.
it. Absolutely.
So I wanted to ask you because last time we talked about your film career, and I kind of wanted to transition to your television career because you've done a lot of sitcoms, and I feel that a lot of people might not know that because they watch movies and stuff, but like
Mm-hmm.
you were the star of your own sitcom called
Was.
Maggie, and I wanted
I
to ask
was.
like how was that? Because you have great comic timing and like how it like did you have any say on the jokes or like how do you do that?
Well, it was an amazing experience, and I felt very fortunate and confused as to why I was carrying a sitcom because I don't perceive myself as the funny one in my family. Given
Really?
well, come on, my sister Joan, seriously,
You
and
you
then
you and
John.
Joan are you guys are all great though. Like
Well, no, no, I appreciate that, but Joan is hilarious.
oh yeah.
She's just such a brilliant actress.
Yeah.
And John is too. And they have very, their senses of humor at any rate. So I loved doing it. But and it was the first time I had been a series regular with a couple of other sitcoms. So this was the first one where I was carrying it. And it was with John Slattery and
John Getz.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
John Getz, and they were fantastic. I mean, you
Yeah.
couldn't have asked, and Melissa Samuels and Morgan, and anyway, so there's a very specific way in which sitcoms kind of work, or they did, when I was doing it, which was really in the late '90s,
Yeah.
in the early 2000s. So I'm assuming that sitcoms are still kind of done that same way, but we were in front of a live audience, so we would tape on, I think it was Friday night. And yes, it was Friday night. So, and it's like putting on a mini play, which is really nice for the actors because you go in order of the scenes,
Yeah.
whereas in a film you don't. You
Yeah, you
oftentimes
could
can do
film separate. Yeah.
in a film you can do the end scene the first day, the middle scene the last day, the first scene somewhere in between. So it's the shooting schedule is based on locations, people's schedules, budget, places that they can get, and timing and all that sort of stuff. So it's very different as far as you don't shoot a film in terms of the how the story unfolds.
Yeah.
Whereas in a sitcom in front of a live audience, you do,
Yeah.
which is very helpful for the actor from an emotional arc standpoint. So we would do, the first 2 days we would work on the scripts. Then we would do on the third day, we would do a run through with the writers. So it was all about showing them what they had written and what was working and what maybe needed some fine tuning or rewriting, or maybe something needed a little bit more humor, or something was, so that was that. Then there would be another rewrite, which we would get the script the next morning.
Yeah.
And we would rework the scenes or shift it. And then we would do a run through in front of the writers and the network and the production company. So the network I was doing was on Lifetime, so all the big wigs would come, and they would come to the read through, and then we would, the actors would all go after the read through, and the the showrunner and the writers and the production company would all meet, and they would give notes as to what they wanted to see in terms of changing, or if there was a problem with language or whatever it was. And then the next day we would do what's called a block through. So we would have the the camera operators and the DP and all that, they would come in and we would block all the scenes
Yeah.
and do a run through. And then the on Friday we would come in like noon and we would do a run through and then we would tape the show. And that, that depending on what was involved, it could go to 11, maybe 12 at night if there was particular things, if the network or the writers wanted to add a scene or switch a line or improvise something, we could do it. But mostly we didn't really do much improvising, maybe a wee bit, but not really.
Right.
It was really about, the writers wanted to have their, they wrote the scripts in a particular way, so they didn't really want you to change what they were doing because of how they wrote it and how it was supposed to all unfold. Sometimes we did, sometimes they let us, or if we had a particular issue with a scene, we would go, we're struggling with this one. Can you help us out with it? And I
I
think
wish
that
I
was,
was a writer on this show for you. I'd be like, go, man.
oh, I mean, I felt very, it was like any hour longs or half hour shows or any of that sort of stuff. If you have a lot of episodes, like you're doing a whole season, which they don't really do now very
Oh
much.
no, yeah.
They'll do like 10 episodes or maybe 8 episodes now. Certainly hour longs are different. But it's an endurance game, as far as being able to keep your energy and taking care of yourself and then, knowing when to pick your battles because
Yeah.
you can't, you know, to get on them about every little thing. They're just not going to listen to you anymore. And you're just going to come off as this whiny, complaining, annoying actor. Even
Yeah.
if you are right, it doesn't matter.
Right.
It's really, it's about making sure that when you really want to address something that, you hold weight. Otherwise, you really try to work with the situation, be collaborative.
Yeah. Another thing I wanted to ask you is because, like, and maybe I'm totally wrong about this because I'm not really, I'm just a stand-up, so I know the business a little. I don't know it all, but like, it seems like back in the day, if you were a movie star, if you were on TV, that was like very taboo. And now it seems like movie stars are on TV. And I was wondering, like, how do you, because you're a movie star and then you're on the TV show, like,
Well, I'm not a movie star, but
oh no,
um, uh,
you are.
what I think what happened in terms of the history of that in the in the 70s, like in the 70s, 60s, 70s, and early into the 80s,
Yeah.
either you were a TV actor or you were a film actor, and you didn't really cross over. So why you had two unions. There's the Screen Actors Guild, and then you have the American Federation of Television and Radio Artists. So that's, you had two different camps of kinds of actors. And then in the late 80s, moving into the 90s, it started shifting, and there was when HBO came into being the subscription series, which kind of set up a whole nother paradigm.
Yeah.
um, Actors were kind of moving in, back and began to go back and forth between the two mediums, television and film. And then I think, and I'm this is just from my experience and just watching. I could be completely wrong totally about this, but as we got into more like home box office, kind of television, and then when 2008 came with the economic crash,
Right.
I think it was Sony used to make like 26 films a year, and they were down to like six, between
Uh,
6 and 10 or something like that. And that's a huge cut. And that means there's a lot of people out of work. So a
Yeah.
lot of the film actors and directors and designers all started moving into television and like HBO and Showtime and Cinemax and Miramax and all that sort of stuff. So you had this whole influx of film actors, designers, all that stuff moving into the television. And so that's when it really started kind of beginning to mesh. And now it's really going back and forth. And also with the changing of television and computers, where basically you can get computers a size larger than a television, larger than
Right.
what was a traditional television screen. People are what, feel like they're in Netflix, the Netflix coming into the mix and Apple TV, and that whole paradigm really sort of changed. So your television screen is your film screen, is your YouTube screen. Everything is, you watch everything on the same screen. So it's not like you have different worlds anymore. It's just like, do you want it on your small screen, or do you want it on your bigger screen? Or do you want to, there's still proper movie theaters where you can go and see films.
Yeah.
But as far as actors go and directors and designers, you just go back and forth.
Yeah.
It's really at this point about, you're getting national or international attention.
That's true. And then my next question is, if I ever get a sitcom, will you be my mom on it?
Yes.
All right, excellent. Cool. That would be great.
Yes.
Uh,
Absolutely. I may be a little too old at that point, but I could also be a grandma. Not
okay,
really.
yeah, we
Not
could
really.
do.
Well, no, give it 10 years and then I could do the grandma thing.
Yeah,
Another
I
10, 15
just want
years.
to work with people I like. I'd be like, hey,
Who does
I want Ann Cusack on my show.
who doesn't want to work with people they like? That's the best part.
Yeah. I thought you were gonna say, who doesn't want Ann Cusack on their show?
Yeah, because I'm a self-absorbed actor.
You're great, Ann.
Yeah, no, I'm just, I'm all about me.
Yeah. My friend Matthew Gray, he directed you on in Criminal Minds, and he said nothing but amazing things about you. He said you're one of, he said because he was a young director and he was like the star of the show, he said you really made his job a lot easier. And he just wanted me to let you know he really appreciated you.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so lovely.
Yeah.
I mean,
He's,
he was so terrific and he was so kind. And he
yeah.
really, he was so lovely and respectful in terms of how he spoke with us. And he sent me flowers afterwards.
Oh my God.
And no director had ever done that. I was like, oh my God, who is this guy? He's
Yeah.
so lovely. And
Yeah.
was making these pins. He gave me one of his pins, and I was just like, you are awesome. So you
But
can tell him I've never forgotten him and how he treated me.
But see, like this is just a story of how I'm letting you know how much you do affect people in such a positive way because
Oh, you're making my day.
yeah, because when I talk to him because he's like, "Oh, who's one of your favorite interviews?" And I was like, "Oh, Aunt Cusack is probably one of my favorite interviews." And then he just
Oh.
went on a rampage about how much he loved you. And I was like,
How
"Oh
how
my."
is he doing, by the way?
He's doing good. He's in Vegas and I think he's filming a new show or something,
Oh, good.
yeah. So, yeah, he's doing great. And
Oh, that's great.
I've been trying to talk him into doing stand up because he's actually a very funny guy. You know what I
He
mean?
is.
Yeah, so
Yeah. He's he he's got this fascinating mind, which if you get to engage with it, it's so engaging.
yeah.
Yeah, it's very.
Yeah. I definitely feel he's on the spectrum as well. You know what I
Oh, do
mean?
you?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. Because just just how, it's kind of like Gator. I could kind of tell. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if that
Well,
makes sense.
yeah, yeah. No, no, it does. It
Yeah.
does. It totally makes sense. Yeah, yeah.
And then I wanted to ask you because you did a pilot with Rocky Laporte called The Rocky Laporte Show.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and I watched it and I thought it was really, really funny. And I was just wondering, like, what happened with that? Because that seemed like that would be a vehicle for both of you guys. You know what I mean?
Oh, well, first off, Rocky was lovely, and he was so and I thought it would have been a really fun, you know, fun show to do. But I guess the network or the production company didn't really want to take the risk on it,
Yeah.
you know. I'm not particularly sure why. I mean, I know that was also during in the 90s when, HBO had started coming in, and you had the subscription kind of television. So the whole rating system, the Nielsen rating and all that sort of stuff was starting to shift. Whereas, before it had all come into being, if you were on a network television show, you're getting like, 45 or whatever it is rating, that was great, and the show would be on it, and you weren't on a buttle. But then, as a result of what happened, less and less viewers were watching, network television. So the whole ratings things was shifting. And I think they were trying to figure out, I think because they didn't, well, I mean, that was, I don't really know, so I don't, it's probably better if I just leave that whole thing
Right.
alone. But in terms of our pilot, I guess they just didn't think that it would, they didn't want to take they didn't want to try it out on people. But
So
we had a good time,
yeah, it was great.
and he was lovely.
Yeah. And so like that was like kind of what I was saying is like it seems like sitcoms like they kind of rely on the comedian of it to see if it's a hit or a miss. And like that's kind of like I don't really feel that that's a fair critique. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, the other thing that was happening, that there was a period of time that's, I think it started with Seinfeld,
Yeah.
where that was the first one where you had this stand-up comedian, and then what they did is they had actors, because stand-up comedians rely solely on themselves,
Yeah.
in terms of the material, writing, timing, that sort of stuff. They don't have to, they're not engaging with anybody else other than the audience. So, but when you're acting, it is about engaging and having to trust or involve yourself with other actors. So a lot of the, from Seinfeld and Ray Romano and, say Rocky, for instance, or any of the other stand-ups. What
Keith
was the
Reza.
Keith Reza? They would have, say, actors who had been properly trained, around them so that they could drive the scenes. And then the stand up, which is what their where their strengths are and their confidence, is they're reacting to, they're responding as a result of the other actor,
Yeah.
instead of driving the scenes themselves, pushing them. They would, the other actors help push them into how they would respond or react, which is what they do, because a lot of times comedians, as you know, you know they're they're talking about, the things they're seeing, viewing, experiencing in the world. They're talking about the reactions to all that's happening in the world, as opposed to sometimes, I'm not saying exclusively. So that was a period of time where the actors, and certainly with Rocky, where it was setting up the the stand-up comedian, and then
Right.
having all these other actors sort of help support and drive a lot of the scenes or the stories or that sort of stuff, so that they could operate in their element, which is from a more reactionary standpoint.
What is, and this probably goes to film as well, but like as an actress or actor, you could be whatever you want to be. Like on like you could be a doctor, you could be a lawyer, you could be a
Mhm.
drug dealer. Like what's your favorite type of part to play? Like when you audition and you get a part, you're like, all right, I'm gonna be a lawyer or doctor or drug dealer.
What are my fun? I don't know. I mean, I had a lot of fun. I liked period shows.
Yeah,
Like I really enjoyed, obviously, A League of Their Own when I was doing that. Then I've done a couple other period shows. I played, Lori Petty did this film called Tank Girl, which was in the 90s, and that was based on a British comic book called
yeah.
Tank Girl. And I got to play Sub Girl, that was really fun.
Oh my
So
gosh.
yeah, so that was kind of fun, sort of out of the box. Basically, if anybody's going to hire me, I'm really happy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, I feel so fortunate,
I
that
I
I get to do it. So I'm just very grateful, because there's so many people who want to work, and there's so many people who are really
yeah.
talented. And, I go, yeah, I get why they're doing it, and I get why they got the role and all that sort of stuff. So when I get a chance to work, I'm delighted.
I asked that question because I need to know for the sitcom so we could say that that's your profession. You know what I mean?
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. What kind of mother am I?
Yeah, like do you want to be a doctor, a lawyer, or like
Hmm.
we're
What's the
writing it
what?
together right here.
Okay. Okay. All right. We'll have to have a conversation about this.
Yeah.
what's going to yield the most possible storylines, or how is her character going to help you with some of your character storylines? Because
I
that would be kind of the point of her being in that thing. It's like,
yeah.
what's your arc? I mean, are you just being you,
Oh, for
or
sure. Yeah. It's just me and like, I kind of drive you nuts because I'm your child or whatever. So, but
right?
you know,
Okay,
so it's kind of
okay,
like that. It's kind of like
okay.
normal life like I do now, you know?
Is that what you do? You drive your mom crazy?
Oh, I'm sure I do. I mean, I have no filter. I don't see social cues, so I can't tell when people are mad at me or whatever. So I just like,
That's fantastic, because that could be great, where you just you see it and you say it, and then, if I'm this like really uptight mom, like a
yeah,
really kind of like so worried about how people are going to think and see and all that sort of stuff, you're teaching me how to be unconditional and non-judgmental.
yeah. All right, cool.
There you go.
And then I want to talk about Ann Cusack and the Generation Jones band because
Ah,
I saw you guys live in Los Angeles and I gotta be honest, you put on one hell of a show, man. Like, oh my God.
oh, and you
Yeah.
wonder why I like doing your interviews.
Yeah. I mean, you were just so fantastic. And like when I saw you sing up there, like it was like, you know, it's one of those things when you see like your friends do something they really enjoy. Like I was like, "Oh my God, you're so happy up there having fun, doing
Yeah, it
your
was great.
dream." Like it was like I was just so proud of you. Like yeah, you did
Oh,
great.
thank you. Oh,
Yeah.
thank you so much. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I mean, the band I had, the Generation Jones band, they're terrific. Jeff Dean and Sammy, Slam and Sammy, and Gordy Germain, who
Yeah.
I actually met because he was the prop master on the Jeff Foxworthy show I did.
Oh
So
my gosh.
that's where Gordy and I first met. And for the wrap party of the season we did with the Jeff Foxworthy show, we pulled together for the wrap party all the guys in the crew that were musicians. And so
Yeah.
we pulled those together. And so he played the guitar and I sang, and we called the we called the band Green Eggs and Ann.
Oh my God, that's a great name.
It was really great. Jordy came up with that, and Gordy came up with that and made some T-shirts. It was really funny. So
Oh
we had
my
a
God.
great time. So that's where I initially met him, and then we had stayed in touch over the years. And then, we've been the Generation Jones band has been in a couple of formations, but Gordy's always been involved in it. And it first was Annie and the True Blues, and we just did the blues.
Yeah.
Um, and then as we started doing some little bit, a few more sort of R&B or different, kinds of songs, it didn't feel honest. So I changed the name because it
Yeah.
wasn't just the blues. So, and we have a lot of fun. They're great musicians, and they just totally, support me. So, um, and really, there's always someone better than you and worse than you. And I think because of my theater background, I do feel comfortable on stage, but I'm not a brilliant musician. But I feel like I can kind of get away with performing things, or at least making sure people or I want people to have a really good time. If you're
Yeah.
going to come out and you're going to drop some cash, which it's so expensive to go out, I absolutely want to make sure you leave with a smile on your face.
Well, you're worth every penny, Anne.
Oh,
Yeah, you put on such a great show. And I remember when I went, who was I sitting by? I want to say I was sitting by Sherry O'Terry.
were you?
I think that's kind of maybe it wasn't Sherry, but she looked exactly like Sherry O'Terry.
I think she was there for a couple of them, because
Yeah.
she's a good friend, and Cameron
And
Manheim, and
so I was just like, oh my God, you know what I mean? Like it's just so cool that people are going and supporting you. So like it doesn't
mm,
really matter if like you don't feel you're a great musician because I think you are a great musician.
thank you. That's
And
kind.
And it's like one of those things where it's like you're doing what you love, and that's the most important thing in life, you know?
It is. It is. I think I think it's really important to do what you love because then you give over 110%.
Yeah.
And I think you have to have certain certain dreams are not realistic.
Yeah.
Like for instance, that I could be Beyonce. I mean, come on. That's just not a dream that'll ever going to happen for so many obvious reasons. I will never be Beyonce, even if that's my dream.
Right.
But then there's practical dreams, and that's dreams that are realistic to who you are without basing the dream in fear or negativity or judgment.
Yeah.
So, and those are very real doable things, and it's just you have to take there's steps to taking to what it is. Fantasies are a whole nother thing, but dreams are very realistic and can be really lived. Like I'd wanted to be an actress. I had wanted to do a sitcom and carry it. Did it look like did my dreams come true from a kid's standpoint? Yes. Did they look like how I had thought or wanted them to? No, but I still got to live them.
Yeah.
So it's about what the dreams have to be. What kinds of things do you want to experience? Do you want to experience yourself, on stage in front of 5,000 people? Okay, well, then it means you have to be very with its stage, or if you're doing music, then it's like, okay, developing your talent, developing endurance, understanding that there's the artistic side of things, and then there's the business side of things. And those are
Yeah.
two different things. So you have to learn the skills to how do you promote yourself? What are the means of marketing now? Because each generation
It's
has
very
that.
hard. Yeah.
It is very hard, and each generation has its own ways of getting yourself known and out there. I think it's really, really hard now, you know,
Yeah.
but you can do it. You can do it. And then along the way, if you're going for it, you learn about yourself, you learn about sort of other people. And as you learn and grow, so will your dreams shift and change.
Yeah.
And and then you continue with those. It's dreams are a way of I think a vehicle to learning about yourself in relationship to who you are, but also to others. And learning and growing in terms of developing yourself as a human being and the kinds of things you want to experience. Do you want to experience, a lot of wealth? Do you want to experience a lot of attention and what that means, which is a mixed bag, you know?
Oh yeah, for
Everything's
sure.
a mixed bag. So it's, you want to be able to, fix trains, go for it, man. You're going to learn a lot about yourself. I
But you
mean,
like trains.
you like trains, and how about driving them? You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
just like, or you love putting things together
Yeah.
and you love cars. You're a mechanic. You know what I mean? It's just like I think particularly in the United States, there's a real sort of hierarchy, or there's kind of this hierarchy about what's considered, better than another. But
Right.
it's not. It's about you learning what you're good at and love to do and then developing it
Oh, for sure.
and
It's, I
being
mean,
happy with it.
yeah, it's kind of like this where like, especially with me, like with my autism, I was very nonverbal. And like my dream is of course to be an actor, but I've always dreamt of being a stand-up comedian. And regardless if I'm successful or not, I'm doing that. You know what I mean? And
And look at you now. I mean, it's like you would never know that you were nonverbal.
yeah. And
I
if you
mean,
would
you've developed that about yourself, which is fantastic. You would never know in a million years that that's where you came
s-
from.
speech therapy and stand-up comedy really saved my life. And but like if you would have told a younger version of Keith, like, hey, what is success? I would think that right now, even though I'm not rich or super, super famous, I'm an F-list celebrity. I feel like I'm still success. You know what I mean?
You
Because
are.
like
You're
how
absolutely.
how many people get to interview the great Ann Cusack? You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like that.
Again, why do you think I care about you?
Oh my gosh, you're so
You're
great.
so you're so cute.
And I want to
Thank you.
respect your time, but I have five more questions. Can I ask these or?
Yes, go
Oh,
on.
okay. So I wanted to ask you, I know I said I didn't want to really talk about your film career, but I wanted to ask you about Nightcrawler because I thought that
Oh yeah.
that was like that's just such a unique script. And like, I wanted to know, like, when you were filming it, did you think, oh, this is something that's going to be pretty cool? Or like, how do you do
Well,
that?
no, it was, I felt thrilled to be cast in it. It was Rene Russo's husband wrote it
Yeah.
and also directed it. And Jake Gyllenhaal, is fantastic director and she's terrific. I mean, she's just got this great energy and she's a vibrant spirit and very welcoming. And so it was, I didn't have a particularly large role. I was just a lawyer in it in terms of an ethics lawyer and what you could put on
Put
television
on
and what you
TV. Yeah.
couldn't. So I didn't have a particularly large part, but I really enjoyed working on it and they were awfully welcoming and very kind to me. So I appreciated that a lot.
I just thought you were so great. They're like, oh, can we show this on the TV? You're like, let's white out their
Well,
faces.
yeah, maybe pixelate it. Ah, yeah, I guess so. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, we could do it. Yeah.
Now, I don't want you to name names because I don't really like bad mouthing, but have you ever like worked with somebody on a project where you're like, I don't want to work with this person, but you still had to do it? And like, how did you adapt to that? Like, because not everyone likes to work with everybody.
No, it's true. I think I was on a set working on a set where the two lead actors, it was, they had on the television, they had a romantic relationships on television. They were supposed to be, romantically involved.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't talk to each other. They hadn't talked to each other other than in the scenes for 2 years.
Oh my God.
So that's where and you would never have known it. One of the actors actually, we became kind of friends for a bit and she shared that with me. But had you been on the set, you never in a million years would have known that they hated each other
Oh my gosh.
and just were such completely different people. So, but they were really professional.
Yeah.
They showed up, they did their stuff, and they set it up so that they would always talk to the director rather than towards each other. But you would not have known. So they figured out how to navigate because it was a very successful show. And that's where your professionalism kicks in. And
Yeah.
that's where you're hired to do, a particular job. And if you're a lead on a series that's really well, then you gotta step up. There's many shows where it doesn't work out and it's kind of a nightmare on the set. I've been very fortunate in that there's never been anyone that I didn't necessarily want to work with again. Um, there were challenging situations where someone had issues, had the disease of alcoholism
Right.
and had fallen off the wagon, so they were very vulnerable. And
Yeah.
so, it was a little challenging as far as emotionally navigating that a bit. But I've been fortunate that I haven't ever met anybody I don't want to, I haven't had wanted to work with.
That's awesome. That helps us for the
Oh,
sitcom.
yeah, there you go.
Okay, so and these are these final four questions are just for like Ann Cusack, like nothing about your career or whatever, just
Okay.
about you. And they're pretty fast questions. But Ann, if you were an ice cream flavor, like the chairman of an ice cream flavor like Ben and Jerry's,
Yeah.
what would your ice cream flavor be and what would you call it?
It would have to be kind of like a hazelnut.
Hazelnut.
Yeah, like a hazelnut or a coffee chocolate mix.
Uh,
Love that.
all right.
My favorite ice cream was Baskin Robbins, 31 flavors. That was an ice cream chain in the Chicago area, Evanston area.
It's
I
still
go out.
around. Now it's
Yeah.
called Six Flavors because I go there all the time.
Aha. And I like chocolate mint chip,
Oh, all right.
chocolate chip and chocolate chip mint.
So what would you name it? Would it be like Anne's
Um,
chocolatey, hazily band?
Live on the edge.
Live on the Edge. That's a great ice cream name. Oh
Live
my
on the
God.
edge.
Yeah. I'd like to get a scoop of Live on the Edge, please. Yeah.
Thank
Like,
you. Two
I think,
scoops.
all right. And then my second question is, Anne, as an actress, what are your biggest fears that you had when you first started, and do you still have those fears now?
My fears were I wouldn't remember my lines
Yeah.
and that I was doing it wrong.
You taught me
And
how to
then
memorize, by the way, and I use
oh,
that. Oh,
does that work?
it works for me. Yeah, for
Yeah, it works
sure.
for me. When I got that that heads up from my friend,
Yeah,
I use it all the time because I can't. It really helped.
yeah,
I mean, mostly if something is well written, then it makes emotional sense and you remember it. It's
yeah,
easier. When it's badly written, it's very hard because it doesn't make emotional, the transitions between line to line don't make emotional sense. So, yeah.
all right. And then second to last question, and if I, Keith Reza, was a huge, huge celebrity and I had the power to help you with one thing, what would you ask me for help with? And I could grant it to you like that.
Oh, wow. That's so it's about anything or it would.
Anything you want, like I because I want to I'm very into helping people, and if I had like if I had huge like if I was like a Ryan Reynolds or a John Cusack and I had the
Mm-hmm.
power to
Mm-hmm.
help
Mm-hmm.
you,
Mm-hmm.
because I think people are
Mm-hmm.
afraid to ask for help,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you know
I gotta think about that because that's a good question, and I don't know. There's a lot of areas. Yeah, I think it would. I think it would have to do with probably supporting kids in arts programs. I think it would be maybe in the long of like helping, farming systems for girls in baseball or, soccer, sports, that kind of thing.
consider it done. I thought you were going to say, Keith, you should get me on the halftime show at the Super Bowl and Cusack and the Generation Man. I'd be like, done.
Well, I have to say, one of my bucket lists that ended up happening was we had the 30th anniversary of A League of Their Own.
Oh,
And
nice.
it was great a couple of years ago. And so we were invited to Wrigley Field, myself and my other former teammates. And I got to sing the national anthem at a Cubs game.
Oh my God. That's so cool. You're a big Cubs person too, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that was like, I mean, that was one of those things where I didn't even think I could put it on my bucket list. And then to actually have it happen, because my family's a huge Cubs
Yeah. All right.
fans. Yeah.
And then my last question for you, and don't sign off until after the interview because I want to say goodbye like off camera if you can.
Okay.
My last question for you is, Anne, if you could go into a time machine and talk to a younger version of yourself, knowing everything you know now, but you only had like 30 seconds to tell yourself something, what would you tell yourself?
Good question. Don't make any decisions out of fear. Get rid of negative self talk and understanding that I'm of value.
That's good. That, all right, yeah, that's awesome. I thought you were going to say, Anne, this is Ann Cusack from 2025. How are you?
That probably would have been a better way to go. I probably would
Yeah.
figure out, what? What are you talking about?
Be like,
You're
hey,
from 2025? What's going to happen? what? You mean I have to wait till I'm blah, blah, blah to meet the love of my life? What are you talking about? Oh, that sucks.
Well, I would throw in, and by the way, if Keith Reza asks you to do his podcast, always say yes because you're really special to him. So,
Yeah. No, absolutely. I would
uh,
do that. I'll go, okay, these are things that are good, blah, 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 blah. Just relax, trust. The universe wants for you. It's just chill out.
yeah.
Just chill out.
Well, and where can the folks at home follow and support you? Twitter, Instagram.
Yeah, at Real Ann Cusack on Instagram. I have a website, www.anncusack.com. I have a Facebook page. So, kind of those basic ones, you
Yeah.
know.
Well, thank you for celebrating the 400th episode with me. It meant so much. It meant
Congratulations!
so much to me,
Oh,
and like
I felt very privileged to be the 400th interview.
yeah. So I mean, yeah, I thank you so much. Like that's all.
You're so welcome, Keith.
All right. All right, guys. Subscribe, rate, review. That was the interview with Ann Cusack, and we'll see you guys next week on Raise a Riffs.